Hi everyone, and welcome to BABBLE ON, where we give you film and music-related content.
We're doing Temple of the Dog's Hunger Strike.
Ooh.
Temple of the Dog is actually one of my all-time favorite bands. They're kind of like a super band from members of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and
Yeah.
Mother Love Bone.
I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence,
Wrote Chris Cornell.
but I can't feed all the powerless when my cup's already overfilled. Yeah, but it's on the table, the fire's cooking, and the farming babies, the slaves are working. The blood is on the table, and the mouths are choking. I'm going hungry. I don't mind stealing bread.
Eddie Vedder.
Miles of decadence, but I can't beat on the powerless when my cup's already overfilled.
I'm gonna stop it now. I never noticed that before, but he says that I'm hungry. I never noticed that he meant that, but I think he meant he's not hungry for food, he's hungry for justice. Right? Mouths are all choking, it's on the table, this is a burning subject, right? Or maybe no.
We should listen to the whole song before we talk about the meaning. But yeah, it's definitely kind of an analogy.
But it's on the table, the fire's cooking, and the farming babies and the slaves are all working. And it's on the table, the mouths are choking, but I'm going hungry. I'm going hungry.
Chris Cornell scream, love it.
This is a cinematic voice. Sounds like a song that should be at the end credits of an epic film. That guy was born to sleep.
The voices work so well together.
Lyrics, but it suits it.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's my probably top 5 albums of all time. Hunger Strike is the most well-known song from this album, but I don't think it's my favorite song from this album, but it's definitely one of. It rests more on the lyrics and the sort of feel of it, and again their voices and the way they kind of meld together. The reason that Eddie Vedder even sings on this was accidental.
I don't know the story.
Chris Cornell wrote the song, and I think he was kind of pitching it to Soundgarden members. And I'm not even sure if Temple of the Dog was exactly planned at that stage already, but probably. Temple of the Dog is like a super group, but they came together for one album. There's no more, Temple of the Dog albums. It was basically in memory of Andy Wood from Mother Love Bone.
Okay.
Who was one of Chris Cornell's best friends who just passed away.
That was the reason he put it together?
The reason Temple of the Dog was even created, yes. It was like a tribute to Andy Wood. The name Temple of the Dog is actually from a line in a song by Mother Love Bone.
Okay.
That's where the name Temple of the Dog came from. The story was that they were rehearsing and Eddie Vedder actually came from out of town, and he came to rehearse with the band that he's been recruited to, which was later Pearl Jam, but it started off as Mookie Blaylock, named after an NBA basketball player, Mookie Blaylock. That was the original name of Pearl Jam. And he was there while Chris Cornell and the guys were rehearsing, and he was introduced to them before and all that, but he was waiting for Mookie Blaylock's rehearsal to go after that. And Chris Cornell was singing Hunger Strike, but he had trouble with the lower parts. And even Chris Cornell described, he said that Eddie Vedder came closer to him very, very respectfully, but also with a lot of balls to make that kind of a move. And he just stood next to him and he sang the lower parts without being asked, without discussion before, nothing. And as it was happening, Chris Cornell said that he was thinking, like, what is going on here? But then it just kind of hit him as to how good this sounded. That's what Chris Cornell said, that it was a very, he did it in a very respectful way. He didn't feel like he was, breaching anything there and whatever. He did it very nicely, but he said it was also a very ballsy move for someone to come up and,
it's a good way,
especially because Eddie Vedder was an unknown at the time. He was just recruited to sing lead for Mookie Blaylock. They weren't even Pearl Jam then, so weren't really very well known or anything. And Soundgarden were the first sort of Seattle band to break through, with record deals and all the rest of that. And this song is actually about that. The song is about that whole feeling of we are just moving from a band that does their art and all of that, and now we're offered these big deals. Are we selling out? Are we going to have to do things that we don't want to do? No, no matter what happens now, the song is basically saying I'm going to do things the way I do them. That was Chris Cornell's thing. He said it was a very sort of tough and confusing time. They were trying to decide whether to sign the dotted line, who to sign with, and are they selling their soul by signing.
It's comforting to know now in 2022 that they never did. Or did they? They never did sell their soul.
No, they never did. Nope. No, their music was always, their music. It was never catering for an audience. I mean, much like a lot of other bands, they had, ballads here and there. The more you grow, I think, the more ballads you have in albums, but they always had maybe one or two. Like Black Hole Sun and Fell on Black Days, they were the two ballads in Super Unknown, I think. Different albums had some ballads, but mostly they were always very sort of grungy and had that message behind, their work. They were always kind of hardcore, but not hardcore, but grunge-wise, they were hardcore, I think. So yeah. I'm a big fan. Soundgarden is one of my top 3 all-time band. Alice in Chains is another one. to me, I don't know, the music of Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog, Alice in Chains, I don't know if to say, you know, a lot of people use that term like this saved my life. But in some ways saved maybe my sanity. It's a thing, you know, it just makes you feel, because you can relate to a lot of things in different stages in life, and just the artistry of it. Chris Cornell, I think, was the best lyricist, songwriter, poet, you know, who I knew from music, I think, in general. I saw him live 3 times. Once with Soundgarden, once with Audio Slave, and I think once or maybe twice, but I can remember once for sure, by himself, in this sort of solo tour that he was doing, kind of an unplugged type thing. He loved music. You could tell when he sang, you could tell he loved everything about it, and he loved the songs, and, you know. But you and I did go to a tribute concert in Israel
with Israeli performers. Yes.
After he passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, all of those songs, that was his writing. He wrote, you know, the lyrics to pretty much all of them. His death hit me, I think, hardest than probably any music artist ever. And I've had some tough ones, you know, like even when Michael Jackson passed away. For me, Michael Jackson was a big part of my childhood, and it was just such a shock. You know, he was like 51 years old. It was like, what the
50,
hell?
I think, right?
And then well, Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, and Jeff Buckley, of course. Those deaths were tough. But when Chris Cornell, it was just like, what the hell's going on? I thought there would be much more music, you know, to come. But
these legends all have something in common. They're all at least perceived to be suffering from depression.
I think 99% of artists suffer from some kind of depression, because most artists just kind of feel more, which is where the art comes from. But back to Temple of the Dog, it's it's that kind of it's a message song that Chris Cornell needed to get out, and I think in a lot of ways these are thoughts that he and Andy Wood both shared, because Mother Love Bone was also one of those bands that was sort of breaking, you know, into the industry, and, you know, record deals and all of that were just about to follow. And I think they probably talked about this a lot, you know, about the whole selling out thing, and it's something that not exactly in the way they did, but we can also relate to, coming from, you know, sort of an indie mentality, thinking, you know, you always get asked that question, you know, what if the big studios offered you money to do this and to do that, you know, would you sign the dotted line? And then you start making movies for studios and for other people, and it's not really your voice anymore. You know, you're just paid to you know, to do whatever they ask you to. And I think you kind of lose that artistic soul. So they managed to not do that. But then again, who knows? It's a tough one.
Yeah. In summary, even though it sounds like some sort of social commentary, it's a personal song.
I think it's both, but I think it came from that. The idea, you know, wanting to get it out came from that sort of feeling. It just, and then he started writing it, and he added that sort of, you know, political commentary. One of the better songs of all time. It's just such a beautiful song. There's so much sadness and longing, and at the same time some sort of a willingness to fight something, to stand up for something in this song. And I just always loved it.
It also has a dominant positive vibe in it. The whole,
I think so.
The rising with the instruments.
That sort of crescendo that, you know, it gets to with the guitars. And when grunge came in, it was something else. Grunge was more, I think it had more soul to it. It was more about these sort of heavier, darker feelings, and it just hit me as soon as I heard these bands. We will add a link in the description to the video, so definitely check it out.
If you like this video, guys, and in general our content, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you could be informed on our future videos, and hit us up in the comments.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye guys.